probably want to take a look at Taqiyya here in a second.
Attempt to provide the historical precedence for Wahhabis allegedly doing taqiyya by tying Salafis to a sect that nobody has ever heard of and went extinct over 1,000 years ago. Now imagine this when I'm...
Hang on. He apparently says, he thinks that Wahhabis, Salafis, don't practice taqiyya?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what he's saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's what he's saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hold up.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Quran, Fareed. Let not the believers take disbelievers for their friends in preference to believers. Whoso doeth that hath no connection with Allah, unless it be that ye but guard yourselves against them, taking as it were security. Allah biddeth you to beware only of himself, unto Allah is the journeying. Look at what this says. Let not the believers take disbelievers for their friends in preference to believers. So don't be friends with unbelievers. You should be focused on being friends with believers. If you do that, if you take disbelievers as your friends, you have no connection with Allah, unless it's to guard yourselves against them, taking, as it were, security. In other words, if you're a Muslim, you don't want to be friends with non-Muslims, unless it's going to make the non-Muslims suspicious and think that you hate them and that you're trying to conquer them and so on, and that they might be hostile to you. Therefore, pretend to be friends with them. You can pretend to be friends with the unbelievers so that they don't know what you actually think about them. That, Fareed, is straight out of the Quran. Are you saying, Fareed, that Salafis don't believe in the Quran?
Yes.
It sounds like that's what you're saying. Now,
Yes.
since Fareed thinks that this is just some sort of Shia issue or doesn't apply to him or something like that, let's go ahead and take a look. This is a commentary of Ibn Kathir, the great Shia commentator Ibn Kathir.
Ibn Kathir.
Let's check out what this says. The prohibition of supporting the disbelievers. Allah prohibited his believing servants from becoming supporters of the disbelievers, or to take them as comrades with whom they develop friendships, rather than the believers. Allah warned against such behavior when he said, and whoever does that will never be helped by Allah in any way, meaning whoever commits this act that Allah has prohibited, then Allah will discard him. Similarly, Allah said, O you who believe, take not my enemies and your enemies as friends, showing affection toward them until... And whosoever of you does that, then indeed he has gone astray from the straight path. Allah said, O you who believe, take not for friends disbelievers instead of believers. Do you wish to offer Allah a manifest proof against yourselves? And, O you who believe, take not the Jews and the Christians as friends. They are but friends of each other. And whoever befriends them, then surely he is one of them. Got this so far? So lots of commands here. Don't be friends with the unbelievers. Don't be friends with the Jews and Christians. If you do, you're one of them. Very clear. Allah said, after mentioning the fact that the faithful believers gave their support to the faithful believers among the Muhajirin, Ansar, and Bedouins, and those who disbelieve are allies of one another, and if you do not behave the same, there will be fitna and oppression on the earth, and a great mischief and corruption. And here we go. This commentary on the verse we just read, Surah 3, verse 28. Allah said next, unless you indeed fear a danger from them. So all of that was Ibn Kathir commenting on don't be friends, don't take the unbelievers as friends in preference to believers. And then you get to unless you indeed fear a danger from them. Meaning, except those believers who in some areas or times fear for their safety from the disbelievers. In other words, if you're a Muslim living around non-Muslims and the non-Muslims completely outnumber you, then you'd have to be concerned about letting them know what you really think about them and that you can't stand them and that you want to subjugate them. If they come to know that and they completely outnumber you, you'd be in danger. Therefore, what do? You pretend to be friendly. You pretend to be buddies with them. You pretend that you like them. Isn't that interesting? Because it's exactly what we see in Western nations. No, Islam is peace. We just want to get along with everybody. In this case, such believers... Okay, let me read that again. Unless you indeed fear a danger from them, meaning except those believers who in some areas or times fear for their safety from the disbelievers. In this case, such believers are allowed to show friendship to the disbelievers outwardly, but inwardly inwardly. In other words, pretend outwardly to be friends with them, even though inwardly you hate them and want to conquer and subjugate them. For instance, al-Bukhari recorded that Abu ad-Darda said, this is one of Muhammad's companions, "We smile in the face of some people, although our hearts curse them."
Based.
Al-Bukhari said that Al-Hasan said, another companion of Muhammad, the Taqiyya, is allowed until the day of resurrection. Guys, this is a Sunni Muslim commentary, considered one of the greatest commentators of all time, commenting on Surah 3, verse 28, quoting multiple verses from Allah, and then quoting Bukhari about Abu ad-Darda and Al-Hasan, Muhammad's companions, saying, no, of course we do this. Of course we pretend to be friendly. Of course we deceive people into thinking. Of course we smile in the face of some people, even though inwardly our hearts curse them. And this is allowed until the day of resurrection.
I don't know why you keep saying N-word, but whatever.
I just have to wonder, is Fareed practicing Taqiyya?
Yes.
Sounds
What's
like he
the
might be
problem?
practicing Taqiyya here.
It's allowed, so what's the problem?
That's true. It is. So Fareed's doing exactly what his religion commands him to do.